Hey homies, welcome back, and today I will be doing a quick review on Samurai Riot. Initially released in 2017, it has been re-released on modern consoles in May 2022. Before we start, I would like to thank PR Hound for the review code and making this video possible. Furthermore, I recently returned from a 2-week family vacation, so if you were wondering where I went, there's your answer. Also, I am getting over a cold right now, so if my voice sounds a little funny or if I sound a little tired, there's another explanation. Thank you all so much for being understanding, and with all that being said, let's head straight into the review. Back in 2005, there was a little anime called Samurai Champloo. You may have heard of it. It's pretty good. It got a game called Samurai Champloo Sidetracked. I never played it, but it was a hack and slash game developed by Grasshopper manufacturer. Yes, Goichi Suda's Grasshopper. It was a 3D hack and slash game. Well, Samurai Riot is what that game would be if it was a traditional 2D beat 'em up. You're also probably familiar with the musician known as Nujabes? Nuhabes? You know, being an English and Spanish speaker presents some challenges. He was a pioneer of the lo-fi hip-hop genre, and his tracks are all over Samurai Champloo, the anime, and the game. The soundtrack of Samurai Riot is heavily inspired by Nujabe's music, and it incorporates the hip-hop genre with Eastern flair excellently. A lot of the tracks here complement their respective stages. My favorite track is the one from the Spider Forest. Something about the constant drum and bass fits the combat and severity of the situation perfectly. If you do end up liking the soundtrack, it is available for a small purchase separately, and you can pick it up with a bundle with the game. As you've noticed, Samurai Riot has a hand-drawn animated aesthetic. The aesthetic is heavily inspired from French animations. Samurai Riot was developed by French developer Wacko Company, so the art style makes sense. Characters move smooth, and animations have an extreme anime look. Attacking looks and feels great. The environment is a mix of traditional Japanese nature and folklore being combined with modern buildings and technology. This gives it this weird aesthetic of traditional and modern. This clash of past versus future is ideal to the story of Samurai Riot. Stages can be a bit long and backgrounds repeat a lot, almost like a Scooby-Doo cartoon, and sometimes there's almost no repeat at all. There are breakable objects here that you can get some items from. Once in a while, it's hard to distinguish breakable objects from unbreakable ones, but that's more of a nitpick than a complaint. Some items that you can pick up from breakable objects include food for health, coins for purchases, tea for super meter, and grenades for one playable character. Enemy designs are solid, but there's not much variation in standard grunts. You have your basic guys, and enemies have color variations which dictate their attacks, health, and movement. You'll fight these guys in combined groups, each one presenting their own difficulties, and you will have to learn their attack patterns and how they are best dealt with in order to complete each level successfully. In the standard beat 'em up formula, initial bosses will return as common enemies. That being said, if you've never played a beat 'em up game before, usually the first or second boss return as enemies and usually join the enemy groups. Boss design is excellent, and it feels daunting sometimes to fight some of these yokai or just huge enemies that you face at the end of the levels. The best design in the game is definitely the expression in the Tanuki's walk. Look at this little guy, minding his own business until he steals my stuff and gets kicked up into the Milky Way galaxy. Let's talk about the gameplay. Samurai Riot follows your standard beat 'em up formula. The player has a light attack, heavy attack, jump button, block, or dodge depending on who you choose, and a grab. The block or dodge is dependent on the character chosen, as I've said before. That being said, the samurai character Surumaru is the heavy hitting character. Combining katana strikes with kicks makes him great for players looking to cover big ranges with heavy strikes. Suru, for short, can also block attacks with his katana, and his raw strength allows him to grab almost all enemies. He also has grenades and is the only one that can use grenades, which devastate grunts and make quick work of tougher enemies. The other character, Sukane, takes on the onslaught of enemies with her bare fists and her pet kitsune, Aru. Tsukane is the agile character of the cast, and due to her smaller, lighter stature, she cannot grab enemies. Instead, she'll use Aru to rush towards enemies and puts them into chains. These chains can be reeled back so she can attack at a much closer range without moving and exposing herself. Aru can also turn into a grenade if she is in the air and deliver huge damage to a group of grunts. This disables Aru for a limited amount of time, and you'll have to wait for the meter to recharge before Aru is playable again. Also, instead of blocking, Tsukane dodges. It is important to note that she is not invincible while in the dodging animation, so you can't use this as a cheese tactic. One of the coolest parts of the game is that you have choices, and you will have to make several choices as you progress through the levels. Most of these will involve a choice at the end of a level, usually deciding whether to execute someone or making a decision that'll change the tide of war. While the game doesn't change much as you will still be fighting the same enemies, it does change up the story, level order, and the conversations that you will have with other characters in between levels. There are also certain levels and bosses that you can only see depending on certain choices that you've made. If two players are playing and both of them make a different decision, then the game will go into a PvP mode. There is replay value here. There's co-op, so in case friends are over, you can always go ahead and do some couch co-op. And there are 8 different endings you can get based on your choices. Also, when the game is completed, the player will receive all the coins they've collected and earned. These coins can be used to unlock schools. These schools affect character attributes and grant special properties. One school allows the player to double jump while another poisons enemies. These schools add further replayability, and through playing the game you can find a school that fits your playstyle and helps you succeed. The game is short, and I've completed my playthroughs in less than an hour on the normal difficulty. My latest playthrough clocked in at 48 minutes with Tsukane. This is pretty standard for a beat 'em up, so I'm not disappointed at all. If you feel like giving this anime beat 'em up a try, it's available on Steam for $11.99 and recently released for the Nintendo Switch for $9.90. I'll leave a link below to the Steam shop shell so you can get yourself a copy if you like. If you made it all the way to the end, please consider leaving a like. It's a small gesture and it's a big help to me. Also, while you're here, feel free to check out my channel, and if you like my content, hit the subscribe button. I usually specialize in indie and retro games, but I do like to further elsewhere from time to time. Thank you so much for checking out my review on Samurai Riot, and I'll see you in the next indie video. Have a swell day. Be safe.